Hello, so please do subscribe if you aren't already. So as you can see, I'm sitting in my van and I'm at the end of a 7-day trip to the northeast of England, and it has been rather a challenging time. There have been lots of ups and downs. There's been some wonderful scenery to see, some great experiences, but also lots of challenges. For example, day 2, my bed broke. Day 3, the awning collapsed, and with it a flood of water that went all over me. Constantly the switches in my van have been knocked by Lexi, because it's quite challenging to have the dog and me in the van, and the way they're positioned causes some issues. Anyway, I could go on with all of these examples of these different things. So the idea that I can just go out there in a very idealistic way and draw in a very serene environment has not quite been as it is. It's quite a challenge in a small space trying to coordinate it all. But I have survived to tell a tale, and what I want to do today in this video is to share with you some of the wonderful scenery and experiences in a sort of just a film view, rather than showing me drawing in this one. So this one is all about the stunning northeast location and some of the wonderful views and skies and places. So I hope you enjoy it. So without further ado, I'm going to share that with you. So I drove up to the northeast and stayed at a lovely campsite on the outskirts of Saltburn on Sea, and used that as a base. And what I'm going to do is share with you the different little places I visited, not necessarily in north-south order or south-north order, but in the order in which I visited them. And it's a really lovely day actually, so I thought I would just share with you a little bit of the wonderful blue sky. It's such big blue skies up here in the northeast, and also the wonderful buildings, because the buildings are really quite quirky and interesting and very typical of a seaside town in a way. There are things like driftwood and little boat pot plants and so on, pot plant holders I should say, and it's really, as it's a bank holiday here, it's really quite busy, but I just wanted to share with you some of this. And also I have a new mic, so I'm hoping that that makes a difference to the acoustics, because I have struggled with that, and so I'm trying to improve on the acoustic quality, but I do still want to retain, I don't want to do voiceovers, because I just want to be able to retain the authenticity of hearing the seagulls, of hearing some of the breeze, but obviously without it being detrimental to the video and really impacting on people's experience of the video. So just going around, and the Cod and Lobster, that looks like a really interesting pub, and it's quite busy with people having teas and coffees at the moment. So I just want to spend a bit of time going around the harbour area, because the buildings are so interesting to look at, and obviously these glimpses of the wonderful blue sky in April of the UK are really nice to see, and something that we haven't had an awful lot of this season. So I'm now going so that you can see the wonderful lobster pots and the quirkiness of the properties, and there's a river that links into the sea here, and although you can't see it probably, there's seagulls dotted all over that rock, and it's just nice to see the blue sea, blues and greys, and I had to just share with you this wonderful shadow of the chimneys that's on the side of this building, and hopefully you can see these little ginnels again. This is another ginnel. Just nice to see really, and you can see the lovely shadows of the chimney stacks. And here I am at the top of the town, and you can see the wonderful cliffs over there, And then if I shoot over, you can see oilseed rape fields and then the factory buildings there, which even as they are, do kind of blend in a little bit with the countryside, so they're not as grim as they might be. Anyway, this is a really interesting little place, Staithes, and I'm, as I say, at the top of the town now. There we are, what a brilliant sign, crabs and kippers. Maybe you can make an exhibition called Crabs and Kippers. But there we are, it's quite a interesting little range of garages. It's quite busy up here actually. Okay, so here I am, and I am in a very different place now. Well, I'm going around the coast between Staithes and Saltburn, and this is a very tiny little country road, but as you can see there's a rather amazing sandy beach in the distance, and this is very underpopulated, you might say, or not, you know, it's sparsely populated and there's not huge numbers of people everywhere, which is just lovely. So I'm going to carry on down to the bay anyway. Hello, so this is Skinningrove, and this is currently my favourite place. This is a small village that is famed for its iron industry, iron ore, and it has the most stunning beach and the most interesting things going on in the landscape. And if you look to the right here, you'll see what I mean by things going on in the landscape. These little shacks, which I think are fishermen's huts, and they're strewn around, and it's just really so interesting. And as you can see, it's such a stunning day, and I'm so inspired by this landscape. So I'm hopeful, because I've got a new mic, that it's not going to be too much background noise, and it's really lovely to see the waves. It's very quiet, there's hardly anybody around, apart from a few families and dogs, and the wonderful sort of sea, which is just quite something. You can see the sea again. Anyway, this is a really interesting experience of being in this part of the northeast, and just thought I would share it in this video. Beautiful blue sky today. So I've walked a bit further around now, so here I am on this side of the sea with these wonderful boulders. I'm loving these rather sparkly rocks, they're rather lovely. There's a lot of drama here, and there's a tendency for me at the moment really to be looking not necessarily just at the sea, but at some of the shapes and patterns that I'm seeing and associated with the place. And at the moment I'm being fascinated, as I was in Staithes, with these little buildings, but now I'm really loving walking along these rocks, so it's just nice to see the variety. So let me show you what's over this wall. It's quite impressive actually. So there we are. Uninhabited beaches in the north east of England. Isn't it gorgeous? So this is a place called Marske, and it's on the North Sea, would you believe? Isn't this amazing? And it's just north of Saltburn on Sea, and between Saltburn on Sea and Redcar. And it's this amazing sandy beach with these wonderful marron grass dunes. I don't know if you can see the offshore wind farm there, but rather a windy day, so you might well get quite a lot of wind sort of sound, but I just thought it would be worth just sharing with you this wonderful vista. So I've come down here now, down the dune to the beach at Marske, and I found myself a nice little spot that's just a little bit out of the wind. And you've got this wonderful marron grass, and then the cliffs over there, and this gorgeous sandy beach. So I think I'm gonna just do some small drawings and see how it goes. So this is Robin Hood's Bay, which is a really pretty village that goes down to a lovely bay area and to the sea, and it is just south of Whitby, and as you can see, rather stunning picturesque cottages and streets, and these lead down actually to the beach area, and you can see here the Bay Hotel, which is at the bottom of the hill, and then to the expansive beach and bay area. And it's rather an interesting beach actually, because well, it's a kind of a slippery slope down literally, with algae and seaweed making it quite a slippery surface. But once on the beach, it has rather interesting rock formation and fossils and so on across this bay area. So rather an interesting area to explore. And I'm sure that although it was a really cold, blustery day when I visited, in the summer, I'm sure it really comes into its own much more. Hello, so here I am at Runswick Bay. So this is further along the coast, not far from Whitby, maybe 5+ miles, and this is a really pretty little place, and in a minute I'll show you the beach, which is a lovely sandy beach. It's very mixed, the weather, and although the sun's come out now and it looks quite nice, it's actually very cold and there's quite heavy showers intermittently, so we'll see how we go with this one. As you can see, again, it's a lovely little village that's sort of perched up on the cliffside adjacent to the sea, and some gorgeous blue sky, as you can see, peeping through there. And then here is the wonderful coast, and if I swing round you'll be able to see the beach, and I'm just going to walk down there so that you can see it. So very typical of this part of the UK in the northeast, and amazing skies actually that we've been having over the last few days, the downside being the cold and the wet. So it has been exciting but challenging, not always so easy to draw and to paint in these sorts of conditions, especially in a small van with a dog, but I have been really enjoying and recording and memorizing and doing some drawing and painting as well. So I just thought I would share this with you, because this is maybe not such an obvious place as the likes of Staithes and Robin Hood's Bay, but nevertheless a really stunning one. So I just thought I would end on this rather spectacular view. You can see the rain coming in. I don't know if I'm going to get drenched or what, but it is rather stunning to see that blue sky seeping underneath with the grey clouds, and the way the buildings stand out on the cliffside there. Rather lovely. So Saltburn is close to where I'm staying, and it has this wonderful cliff tramway, which is the oldest water-balanced funicular still in operation in Great Britain now. And interestingly, it's linked to the pier, to a pleasure pier. And again, this is the only remaining pleasure pier on the northeast Yorkshire coast. And it does look rather spectacular with this wonderful backdrop of the beach huts. So thanks very much for watching. Please do like and subscribe. So it's goodbye for this time from the northeast.